Hello, everybody. So, the next section here, rotations and angle terminology. We're going to be talking about drawing some angles in on coordinate axes. Now, it seems a little weird. This is supposed to be the trig section, but you'll see over the next couple lessons how that's going to tie in. Now, when I say angle, remember what makes up an angle. You have your initial ray and your terminal ray, and they form an angle. Now, on the coordinate grid here that we have, an angle is said to be in standard position if the initial ray goes from the positive x direction. And for a positive angle, as we see here, it follows the way the coordinates work. And you go counterclockwise for a positive angle. For a negative angle, you would still start from the same initial ray, but you would go the other way, clockwise. So, like I said, positive and negative rotations, just mentioned that. They both start from the initial ray on the positive x-axis, and positive angles counterclockwise follows the numbered of the numbers of the quadrants. Negative, just the other way around, goes clockwise. Now, coterminal angles and reference angles, that'll be something that we'll get to in the next lesson. This is just a quick little one to have on a Friday here, since I'm still waiting for some people to turn some of the past couple in. Now, before we go on to actually drawing these in ourselves, so your initial ray, if you have no rotation, 0 degrees. And again, I'm sorry, the stylus I have kind of has a wide tip, so I can't write the neatest with it. I apologize. And if we go up to the y-axis, that's just a right angle, so that's 90 degrees. If you go to the next axis here, 180, I mean, that shouldn't be surprising to anyone. That forms a straight line. And then you go down to the next 90 chunk, that'll be 270. And you get back to 0 with a full 360. So a lot of times throughout this section, we'll be talking about 0 and 360 really being the same thing, because 360 is a full rotation. Now, anyway, just keep in mind you got your 0, your 90, your 180, and your 270. We're going to go on to drawing some of these. Exercise 1. For each of the following angles given by the Greek letter theta. Theta, just the O with a slash through it, just means angle. Draw a rotation diagram and identify the quadrant that the terminal ray falls in. All right, so for these, and believe it or not, sometimes on the Regents, you get questions as easy as these. So if we're going to draw our angle in, we got to have our axes. And our initial ray here always follows the positive x. 145 degrees. Well, let's think about it. This is 90. That's 180. So 145's got to be somewhere in between those. It's about in the middle. These never have to be, 100% accurate. I wouldn't put it right on the 180 or anything, but somewhere in the middle. These are just sketches. And then to illustrate that that you were going positive, you show the direction you went. And it says identify the quadrant, second quadrant. That's it. That's all that is. So B here, $320. Again, we got to start with our positive x-axis as our initial. Then we got 90, 180, 270. So 320 is going to be somewhere in between 270, and if we had gone another, this would be 360. So it's got to be somewhere in between those. And again, we want the positive, so we got to show going all the way around for that. So that's B. Now on C here, oh, and I forgot on B, the quadrant. That would be quadrant 4. Sorry about that. Now C, this one should be nice and easy here. I'll change it up. I'll use orange this time. I don't know. So we got our initial ray, 72 degrees. Well, if that's 90 up there, 72 might be a little bit closer to it. There's 72. We got to show the direction. First quadrant. Hopefully this isn't too bad. Now, D throws something different at us here, just a little bit different. It's not too bad. We have a negative angle. Now we still got to stick with our initial ray being the positive x-axis. And again, I'm sorry, this is not the greatest thing to write with here, so just bear with me. Now let's go through the negative angles. We're going the other way around. So this would be negative 90, negative 180, negative 270. So negative 210 is going to be somewhere in between the negative 180 and the negative 270. It's probably a little bit closer here to the negative 180. And again, we're going negative. So it's the other way around. Negative angles are clockwise. So that's quadrant 2. And, well, let me see here. C. Hopefully we're kind of starting to get the point of this here, so I'll go through this one a little bit quicker. I'll even just use the same color here. So we got our positive ray, our initial ray here, positive X. And that is something that you would have to show if this was a Readings question. Then you got your 90, your 180, your 270. So 250 is a little bit closer to 270. And we're positive, so counterclockwise. Quadrant 3. F. So again, we're negative. So we got our initial ray, our negative 90, our negative 180, our negative 270, and all the way around would be negative 360. So this one's just about in the middle here again. And we're going negative, remember, so clockwise. Now, those hopefully, even the negative ones, weren't too bad. Shouldn't be too confusing, hopefully. G and H, maybe if you notice the difference here, these are above 360. So we want to think about this. Now let me just get rid of some of the last question here. It's in the way. Come on. There we go. So 460, if you think about it, 460, you go around one whole time for 360, then you would have 100 left. So this is going to be like we're sketching a 100 in, which would just be past that 90. We need our initial ray as well, just like always. But we have to go show that we went around a whole time. So there's 360. Oh, keep going. There's the extra 100. And again, just remember, that's 90 degrees, so the 100 would just be a little bit past it there. Again, these don't have to be super accurate, which is good because writing on this, that wasn't the greatest. But anyway, now on H, same idea here. We're just going to go negative. So if we go negative 360, then you'll have another negative 40 left over, which should be somewhere in there. But again, we have to show that we're going all the way around. So you start from your initial ray. There's negative 360, 40 more. And, forgot quadrant 2. And this one's quadrant 4. All right, well, I hope that wasn't too confusing. So I'm gonna have you try just the basics of sketching those in for the homework section there, and again, and I'll write this down in the assignment. Just please feel free to ask for help. We'll try to work something out if you need help.